every time at a Comic-Con and I signed the thing, I was like, do you want something like Tellini? And they're like, okay. And I was like, can I pitch Vulcan as a motherfucker? And I write that in my signature and people love it.
Gabrielle Ruiz, welcome to Trek Untold, and logically, I am very excited to chat with you today. So let's just beam into things right away here, and we're talking final season of Lower Decks. When did you hear the news, and what was your initial reaction to that?
I heard the news. I got a DM from Mike and a text, and he wanted to give me the news like the day before, and I somehow missed that. I don't know why. So I received the information and the news from online, just like at the same time the fans did. And he was, and then I saw that he wanted to give me the heads up, and we got to have this wonderful chat. Very, very nice closure and just gratitude that was very mutual. And then I sat in my car after that conversation and I cried. I did. I was so sad, but that means I loved it. That means I'm having a wonderful time. That means that it's such a wonderful chapter in my career. And as we all Trekkies know, that it definitely is for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
This love and this community and this friendship.
And I know that I'm not overstepping things when I say that all Trekkies out there are very sad to see Lower Decks go because it's been such an amazing experience. But kind of looking back on T'Lyn, and again, no spoilers here, but at this point in time, we've only seen the first two or three episodes. But are you happy with where T'Lyn ends up by the last episode?
I'm absolutely proud of her. I'm so proud of her. She is welcomed for listening to her instinct and also for being a badass Vulcan that never sleeps at the same time. And I think she found her crew. And I mean that as like not only professionally, but platonically. She really has her people, and her conflicts are becoming part of her growth versus part of holding her back. And I think that's a wonderful through line for the entire final season of Lower Decks.
It has been really fun watching T'Lyn evolve into her role, not just as a lower decker, but as a friend and becoming more human, if you will. So,
How
on
dare
top of
you?
that, sorry, excuse me, how hella logical of me. But on topic of finding, your family, we're talking about Mike McMahon and Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Eugene Cordero, Noel Wells. We were at New York City Comic Con very recently, and they said like that was
Yeah.
one of the first times they've been all together in the same room. And I don't know
Can
how
you
it's like for
believe it?
you, but like when you're recording, I mean, are you guys all together? Are you separate? When's the last time you really had a chance to hang out with your fellow castmates and kind of connect like family?
I think the first time I was with all of everyone you just listed was an hour after that Comic-Con moment. I was able to go to the party, and including Mike McMahon and including some of the executive directors, including some of the Paramount people, it was this moment that will probably never happen again. And I could feel it. I got invited to go to that portion of Comic-Con, and I said to my husband, I was like, I have to go. There's no question of me going because this will probably never happen again. It's the stars have aligned and this is it. And we kind of get a little that's the disadvantage of voiceover work, where you don't spend a lot of time off screen, where you're creating relationships with these actors and these artists and these creators from like pre-production to production and post. Like we don't get to like intersect our work personally in person. But there have been some times where I've seen Jerry, like his session would be after mine, and I've been able to go on Pictionary as like a celebrity guest and spend time with him there. So we've had some rapport and connection on that end. And Noel and I, for some reason, always kind of had sessions back to back. So I was able to finally like physically meet her, which was wonderful. So Tawny and Eugene, I see a lot, and Dawn at conventions. So we do get like a speed dating moment there where we just like speed Kiki, and there's like, okay, bye, have a good rest of your week. Maybe see you in 3 weeks. So it comes in spurts, but you're right. That New York Comic Con will be memorable because everybody was able to be there.
Looking back on the many appearances of T'Lyn throughout the series, is there like a favorite line, whether that's a funny line or something that kind of just resonated with you? Is there like a line you think about with T'Lyn that kind of just has stayed with you?
I mean, I definitely use the word curious so much more in my real life because even if it doesn't make the cut of what you see what you see Talent say, I will prompt my lines with hmm or curious to get me into like a Vulcan rhythm. And so curious, I would have to say is number one for me. Let me also add to the answer that you just asked. Vulcan as a motherfucker will forever be what T'Lyn and only T'Lyn has stamped and imprinted onto the Star Trek universe. Every time at a Comic-Con and I signed the thing, I was like, "Do you want something like T'Lyny?" And they're like, "Okay." I was like, "Can I pitch Vulcan as a motherfucker?" And I write that in my signature, and people love it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends who have like t-shirts that say they're on there, and that's just like that is a very fascinating way to be part of the Star Trek universe to have that as like your tagline, as your catchphrase, essentially.
It's remarkable.
Oh, good one, good one. I see you're on the ball today. All right. Well, I do want to bring up another thing too. This is Trek related, but you have a YouTube channel that you haven't updated in a little bit because you've been busy, obviously. And
I
big
know.
focus that was on your postpartum anxiety and your journey through
Oh,
that.
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and like the challenges of being a working mom in an industry that it's very difficult to be a working mom in. And I bring this up to kind of like put into the perspective of T'Lyn and playing this character. And I'm wondering, how has being this character affected the way you look at your personal life? Has any of her rubbed off into you and how you do your daily living now?
What a question. This might be about my favorite question today. Has Celine impacted my personal outlook on life? I think is what you're asking. I definitely have sometimes a very like bubbly, energetic energy to my day. And Valencia, I mean, sorry, I keep saying Valencia. Talin is not that. Talin is more stoic and um, assertive and pointed with what she has to say. And a lot of that part of my personality has come through more often since creating Talin, which I think is very strong and very bold, and sometimes a little more risky. So I think that would be the answer.
I think so. I think that would count. And just, kind of similar vein here too. I like to throw this question, sort of paraphrase from Deep Space Nine. But Gabrielle, for you, what did you leave behind while working on Lower Decks, and what did you take with you?
Oh my goodness. What did I leave behind? I will leave behind the voice of Talin. I will. I feel like I get to leave that on Cerritos on Star Trek. Exactly I'm the only person that, every Vulcan in this universe of Star Trek has their own voice. And hers is so specific and fun, and it's such an honor to do. And what I will take with me are the friendships. Fictionally and non-fictionally, like in my life. I'm so grateful that I was invited in and I was embraced and welcomed, and we get to grow, whatever it be, more Star Trek or whether it be another endeavor with these group of people and with the sci-fi world that I feel very seen.
Do you think that this is the last we've seen of T'Lyn? Do you think perhaps maybe she'll show up in another way, whether live action or animated down the line?
Fans have come up to me at conventions where they say, you could totally rock that headband. You could totally be Talin in live action. And I will just humbly agree. I could rock those ears. It would be in quite an honor.
And final message to lower deckers out there, to all the fans out there, what would you like to say to them? What would you like to let them know?
I would like the fans of Lower Decks to stay Vulcan as a motherfucker.
Beautiful. I think we can't beat that one. Gabrielle, it's been
You
just
really
wonderful
can't.
watching you be T'Lyn, even though, it's animated form, but to be there for your journey, to have you as part of the Star Trek universe, you're a great ambassador for everything here. So thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
many seasons of giving us laughs and emotions and all the Vulcan things. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Trek Untold, the Star Trek podcast that goes beyond the stars, is powered by the Rageworks Podcast Network and affiliated with Nerd News Today.